do it. Oh, look, no lag today. Right, okay. Fair enough.
Oh God, if you fall asleep.
Wake up, everyone. Wake up.
Right, it's Friday afternoon. Get back down tomorrow.
Hold on, talk about yourselves. I've got my model on its stand. Hold on, there it is. It's
Oh,
on.
God.
It's on.
Put the lights on.
Yeah, look, turn lights on, love. There you go. Hello and welcome to the TFI Friday show. I'll look back at this week, obviously everything that we've been up to, obviously just kicking back and relaxing. So if you've got any questions, like I said before, let's do our little spill to start off with, and then feel free to post up in various chat areas. So obviously we are live on usual one on the Flooring Model site, but we're also live actually on YouTube, and we've got the YouTube chat on as well. So if you want to have any questions answered or anything at all, feel free to post up in there. But we'll do our little bit first. So we'll have our little look back, and then obviously we'll have advertisement break and stuff like that to make our way through. So yes, good job. Anyway, we good chaps?
Nobody said I can't hear Phil, so...
Now there's a reason for that, is what we said last night, wasn't it? Because I had it muted from Friday, and then from the Wednesday show, and then when we were on just before last night, I turned it on because I remembered to do it. So I think we're okay.
All
so
right.
yes, that's it. There you go. You all thought you got blind. Black screen. I should do a blue screen of death and see how many people go, oh, bloody computer. Do the window dunk sound and then leave it like that, isn't it? Everyone would be like, Jesus, I'm on full screen. My computer's crashed. So, definitely. Anyway, we trust you're all doing very well. You had a good week. We've had quite a busy week this week, haven't we, chaps?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
lots of paint.
Lots and lots of paint. Right, so if we have a quick merge around what we've been up to this week. So, in one, we had, which was Monday. There we go. Was that there? I think so. Friday, must have been Monday. So, in one, we had part 10. Which I think we showed last week as well, of the actual X15 build. So I've been making our way with this one. It was all about plumbing the tanks, doing all the wiring and the detailing for it, decaling them up and getting them all ready and done, drilling out holes and various things, and then fixing it onto the X15, which was pushing along with that one very, very nicely. So that one was down in there. So that was up with you on Monday in there. We also had, as a lot of you might remember, we spoke about it last week, the Real Colour order came in, which you guys have basically wiped us out. So we've got another order in with them already. So that was the rack that Matt put together and filled up. That was his Saturday job, literally. Very impressive. I bet it doesn't look like that now, does it? I bet it's been completely robbed, does it?
It's not too bad. There is one out of stock.
Yeah, one colour. That's the Russian cockpit
turquoise. Yeah, that's the surprising colour.
Oh, that'll be that one just there, look.
It will. Yeah. The US interior right as well.
No, I found the 6 now.
Oh, right. Yes, it's only one out of stock at the minute.
Oh, right. Okay. But as I say, they're going very well. But we have got another restock all in, so we don't run out. So that is going in as we speak. So hopefully that won't take too long to fill up. So if we do go out of stock, it will literally just be very temporarily. But we have got good stocks and everything. You guys have really embraced those ones going right the way through and some of the others. We'll have a proper look at that a little bit later when we have our sort of mini ad break. Okay, so that was down in there as well. And then on, so what it'll be, Tuesday, we've got the Daily Show, which if you haven't seen it, I did a guided tour around the studio because we haven't done one for absolutely ages. And obviously things have changed in that. It's a bit of a mess, but hey, it's a working, area. So that was down in there. And also we had up as well was the Picara. So we had the review of the Picara was up as well, looking at Kinetic's latest release, which is very nice indeed. So the Picara.
Does that actually translate to anything in English, Picara?
I don't know, actually. I haven't thought of that.
So
there we go. Speak up now in the live chat. What does Picara mean in Spanish?
Does it actually translate to anything in English?
Yeah.
I thought to look it up. Or...
Yes. It probably means cat or something.
I don't know.
I don't know. Wait for the lag to go through. Somebody's going to be Googling this now, aren't they?
Angry squirrel.
Angry squirrel, yes.
It says Christopher on
Annoyed beaver. So, but yeah, so I'm sure it probably must do, isn't it? I don't know what it is. No one's posting up, so it can't be that well known. So anyway, there's that one was up with you on there. So if you want to have a look around the studio and all the equipment and various things, I'll talk you through some of the other stuff, behind the scenes stuff as well. Just click on that video. It's only, I don't know, can't remember how long it is now. Anyway, that was down in there. Wednesday was the PM show. Obviously, we did speak about the new AK arrivals and various things and all the other bits and pieces that are going on, the new arrivals that came into the store and everything else like that. So that's our sort of weekly show from the PM site of everything that's been going on in there as well. So that was up with you on Wednesday. Last night, clearly, you had the live show. I haven't changed the thumbnail yet. But obviously that was me, Andy, and no, it was me, Matt, and John, wasn't it, last night?
Yeah.
Feels like a lifetime ago already. We're up on there. Also, yesterday we had the review for the Beaufort, or Beaufort, whichever way you do it, is up as well. Very nice kit, I have to say. Also, for members, there was another vlog video as well. So if you go to Inside the Forum, you'll see that one as well, where we were talking about various things as well and doing the boxes for the what was it, S860B? For doing the display case for that one as well. So there's a little bonus one went up with there. And that brings you bang up to date to today. So yes, that was our busy week.
Bit of a dictionary corner.
Yeah, go on. What is it then?
Right, Baccara is a fortress, a defensive hilltop site or fortification built by the pre-Hispanic and historic inhabitants of central Andean area.
Well, yeah, Christopher just put up as well, lot.
Yeah, so's John. Word for word, John has put that up, and Jeff as well on the chats here. So I reckon they Googled it as well.
That's a Wikipedia, sir.
I can't read half the things he's put, but yeah, the black and yellow on the red pottery with sharp, narrow incisions outlining the coloured areas.
Yeah,
all right, okay, so it's some, fair enough.
That's definitely off Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you, Wikipedia Corner.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he said fortress up here. David Hughes put fortress as well for our chat. So yeah, there you go.
So yes, plenty of things
Doesn't
going up on there.
I prefer the angry squirrel.
Probably won't affect the magnetic pull on these things because
let me just mute that. There we go. Look, you can watch that one in the background as we're making our way through. So yes, good job. So anyway, that was our week. So any news and gossip, gang?
Yeah, we're doing the Sabres from Airfix next week.
Yes.
So pre-order for that is going to be Monday. You'll
invoice
everybody.
Monday, yeah.
So, and obviously we'll send you one down.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like, to be honest. Having, let's face it, the Sabre's not nothing new, but it is from Airfix. So it'd be interesting to see how they go about doing theirs. So
that should be in hopefully Monday. Obviously, we just put our AK order right back in. We're going to do a Mr. Hobby ordering on Monday as well. So leveling thinner, rapid thinner surfaces, all that. Big order that will be as well. That will be going in Monday. No update on the HK Lank. Sorry, Neil, that was just going to come in when it comes in. Don't know anything on that, to be honest.
Probably on a slow boat from
anywhere.
Yeah,
somewhere. Could be. We don't know. But yeah. Also, the Tornado pre-order will be shut after this show.
Yes, because that's gone absolutely mad.
Mad.
That's the only way I could. Every time I look at it, it's like, what's it up to now? Something like 80. It's ridiculous.
It's 80 odd, but then people want 2 of, so we're going to be touching 90s.
Yeah.
So it's been very popular. So thank you for everybody who put the name down, and that's due end of May, I think.
Be an interesting one, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, and look, I think Nigel's got his Infinity Helldiver, so we're probably getting them soon as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just put it there, so that's another thing you'll be getting to review. So hopefully, over this next month, shall we say, you should be having some quite decent stuff to review because there is releases coming.
It's starting to filter through a bit now, isn't it?
May, won't we, after next week? Blimey, May already after next week.
I know. It's starting to pick up the pace now. It's
we were
flowing.
just saying, on my OneDrive, it came up with, like past OneDrives, and you said the same, didn't you? Yeah. Mosson 3 years ago.
Do you know what? Came up on my phone this morning.
I was telling Leslie, because she was like, it's only a couple of years ago, because it isn't, because we didn't go. Obviously, we couldn't go last year. We were planning on going last year, weren't we? Obviously, we missed the year before because we said we'd do it perhaps every
2 years or so.
Yeah, 3 years ago when we went.
I know. It was awesome. Yeah, because I must have it popped up on my phone, and it's when we were going for a walkabout where you lot were very interested. Something up there, but something like that. but
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
remember now. I've got that great photo, and funny enough, that's the photo that came up as well. So
All mine are of us going out there on the plane.
Mine's a statue. Can you remember the statues when you walk down to the river?
Yeah.
There's in the like that parky
Yeah.
walky bit. I've got a statue of whatever I took a photo of some.
Oh, and also there was one of us standing in a tram stop, I think it was, at night time.
yes.
When the castle was up on the hill.
Yeah.
I took one of the castle as well.
Yeah. It's a lovely, nice place.
It was a beautiful place, I have to say.
We were looking for an ice cream place.
Yeah, the ice cream
We were
run.
looking for an ice cream place, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we like the ice cream.
Find some ice cream. Yeah.
So, just thinking then, so all being well, next year,
Yes.
are we going to go again?
We could go
If it's
again.
on?
I'd loved it. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I bet we won't get nice weather. It'll rain or something this time, because last time it was really hot over there, wasn't it? It was like 30 odd degrees. It's crazy.
I don't know. We're up to thinking. What's the temperature? Somebody Google it for us in Bratislava.
Yeah,
this
what's
weekend.
Bratislava doing today? So
Yeah,
let me just.
what's the weather like today? But yes, so yeah, just surprised it's 3 years ago. How quickly it's gone. So
Yeah, John's just done the view from the castle.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, very nice indeed. Yes, fond memories.
lovely.
Good show that was. We enjoyed doing that. One thing I do have to say, a big thank you is to Ash Whitehouse, who sent me through the post, and I assume the other ones, Ash, you've sent them to the gang. They haven't turned up now, and he's done me some laser cut little goodies.
Yes.
For me and John here, and I assume, as I say, the others will go up with the other ones. Where's my cameras? There's my cameras. So we've got this one here, Phil's cuppa, and a nice little mat. We've got this one here on a nice little piece of slate, F16 on there. Look. Very nice. And one for Comrade Buller.
Which is brilliant.
Which is absolutely, you couldn't have got that more spot on.
Yeah,
So,
he'll like that.
He will. He'll be absolutely loved with that. To be honest, I did speak to John yesterday, and we were saying that me and him were going to have to get together because he's only up the road. Now he's allowed down. We'll have lunch or something. So, yes, or share a cider. 2 straws, 1 pint. Usual thing with me and John. You know how it is.
Hey, that's what it's coasted before. Put his sheppies on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he will. He'll have his sheppies on that. But as I say, he's done little pictures for the others, but I'll surprise the guys with that a little bit later. But a big thank you to Ash for that one. I'll message you after the show as well, but it came through just before we came on air.
Thank you, Ash.
And thank you for when we get ours, which will probably Monday. But yes, that's really, really nice touch. Apparently it's 15 degrees in Bratislava.
Well, a bit different from last year because it's
I
proper
say it's
hot,
warmer
isn't it?
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're about 18 today, so yeah.
But yes, it was very, very hot over there, I must admit. So anyway, right. Okay, so we've got a couple of little questions in here already. So we've got, when will the Pink Tornado group build be? I think you should do one now. With all the amount we've sold at 48's going now be 70 seconds, we could actually have a full group build, let alone a SIG, on that one.
Phil couldn't afford a group build for that. It'd be too many people.
Yeah, can you imagine the medal count for that?
Yeah, that would be off the chart, wouldn't it?
Need like 1,000 medals for that. So yes, there's that one. Speaking of group builds and SIGs, we'll have a look a little bit later, but I don't know if Nathan's watching, so I hope he's in yet, but I have done the bits, so down below, but they're all locked in the forum at the moment, but I did do them this morning. So they're in there, because obviously we've got the Anzac SIG, which is starting on Saturday, isn't it? 25th? So yes.
Anzac Day.
For Anzac Day. So that one is the next SIG that goes through with that one. So a little bit of an overlap. Obviously, don't panic. We've still got another week left on. It's a week today to the end of the high C SIG, C6 SIG.
C6.
So you've got a little bit of time to get those ones finished.
And Yandeck. No, Andy's doing this weekend.
Yes, that's it. So that actually just reminds me, I have done. I think we're going to have to try and do something clever, actually, because I've done the video, but it's on the other computer. So,
what, for today?
So I've done the reveal video for the Easter build, but it's on the other computer, so I might have to grab that in a minute. Anyway, somehow I'll slink out from under here, leg it upstairs, grab an SD card, bring it down. So yes, unless No, the SD card isn't in there; it's upstairs. So I'll have to grab that in a minute. Anyway, what else we got? Any idea how long Mr. Hobby stuff will take? I need to mask. I need mark setter and softener. Ooh.
Well, they've only literally, I think, got their order either this back end of this week from the suppliers. They've got to sort it and obviously label up what they need to do. So we were told just to, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Rob. Sorry, your phallic thing you're playing with is just.
Well, you leave it alone. It's just, you see the
I know,
if I moved it, it's up there now.
It's just wafting around in the eye line.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got yours.
wrong.
It's all right. You're fine. So you're okay. I'll send it up.
This is Phil's new line because time's a bit
Yeah,
hard at the minute.
I say things are tight at the moment with COVID, so I've diversified the business.
It's a bit quiet in the summer, so he has to look at other incomes.
So yes, apologies for that. That's why I shortened it. It looks like something you might back into in a minute when you see it on the screen.
I don't know.
Anyway.
So yeah, with the Mr. Hobby stuff, that will probably be not next week, week after.
Right.
Because we were told to put our order in so they could process. We'll get it next week, bonus, but I've got a feeling it'll be week after. But we are putting a big order in, so we should be fully stocked. And hopefully, because we've not had the setter and softener in for months.
No.
We're obviously dependent on
what they stock
them
they
getting
get.
it in. So.
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll have everything back in good quantities. So
cool, that'd be good.
Just set them off now. You have.
Oh, that's it. Have they all started? Have they in chat?
Like, gone down the gutter already. 15 minutes into the show.
That's it. I thought they might. What else we got? How would you deal with Tamiya decals on a natural metal finish? I'm doing a Tamiya MiG 15 and don't know whether to use the kit decals or leftover monogram decals from the kit build I did as a child.
I've got a solution for them. It's called one of them.
Is this it now? We're going to start blowtorching on, are we?
No, just to set them on fire and get rid of them and buy some aftermarket ones at work.
Right. Okay.
The only problem with Tamiya decals especially, and it only ever seems to be their aircraft decals because it's not the armour ones are perfect.
Yeah.
But they just seem to be very thick, aren't they?
Yes. To be honest,
why
we've had this, haven't we? This conversation could just run and run because we just.
The only thing is, a good thing to it is they're a very good solid colour. You don't get any light bleed through with whites and that with Tamiya. But yeah, this one, if you feel it, it feels like you're rubbing your finger over a chocolate button.
Braille.
I presume you're going to spray them, are you?
Yes, I'm probably going to do the old spray job on it because it's quite straightforward to do that and just paint them on there really rather than these. But yeah, that's the only thing is their colours are always good, solid colours. The downside is they're very, very thick and they always have been. So, yes, not sure. Probably easier with the red ones and with the stuff with the banding. It's easier to spray it than it is to decal it. And it's quite straightforward.
I'm guessing what Phil's building next.
Yes. Well, I did show it yesterday. I've already started on it, to be honest. So it's in the background whilst we finish this thing off. So, but yeah. So again, I would, if you have got replacement decals, I would probably use replacement decals for it. So if you're going to be doing things, especially like Russian stars and that, quite straightforward. They're red. Have a look at the decals. Have a feel. If they feel thick. Like these are proper thick, to be honest. But, you probably want to replace them, or in that case, I can just, obviously just do a circle and spray them. But if you've got replacement ones and they're just there, then use the replacement ones. Don't you think?
Sorry, I'm reading our chat. Just quite funny.
The only problem, did he say his alternative were monogram ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd buy some new one.
I think I might go with you with that.
We'll try Tamiya ones.
I bet you're a Garmer stuff or whatever it's called would struggle to get them to bed down.
Yeah, the Ajima stuff.
Your alien blood.
The alien blood.
With the metal finish, you don't really want to be messing around with it that much either, do you?
No.
Yeah. Because say the other problem is if you're using that strong setter, it could mark the metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a go with the monogram ones and see how just they go down. And then if they're working, stick with them.
Chris has just put up a good question, which we sort of covered last night, I think. A question for all the guys. I saw a clip on YouTube where he used water and white glue, wet mix on the body before applying the decals. Anything new or an old trick? Never seen this before. Well, isn't that what?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's what that is.
We think.
Allegedly, but that we think is what this is. So this is the Mr. Mark Setter Neo. I think it's just PVA glue and water mix. So,
have you ever tried to catch a? Oh God, can't speak. Attach a canopy with it?
No, I think it's too thin for that.
I've put some in a.
It smells the same.
Before, and then it's dried.
Yeah,
and it does peel like
PVA.
Yeah, because it does smell just like PVA glue.
Yeah.
It does kind of make sense for it to be that, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Really, but
it might have a bit of acetic acid in it as well.
I think because it does have that slight tinge. If you sniff this, it definitely smells a bit like the old, white vinegar. Distilled vinegar, but it's definitely PVA glue in there as well. Same thing. I've had it where I've had a spot appear, and then as it dries, it peels off. So,
like said there, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and that's, to be honest, the other small problem with decals from Tamiya.
I'll start reading Rob. It says, please turn your video off. It's getting a bit saucy.
You wait in a minute. It gets really good in a minute. You wait till the bend occurs.
you need some new man.
It's better not having the voice. I tell you, it's a good job it's not dubbed in old YouTube. You'd have all sorts on that one.
You could actually dub over that and it'd be brilliant.
Yes. But it is when I start polishing it. Anyway, the trouble that I find also with Tamiya decals is that sometimes, because they are thick as well, if you use a strong setting solution, you end up with bullseyes in it, where it physically will put depressions into the decal because they're so thick as well. So you want to make sure you've got thin coats on there. Right, there you go, quick. It's all right, it's the heated bit now, you're okay now. Now we do some bending.
Trying to get the angle of the angle right.
We start doing bending. In other words, it's called melting the camera. It's a good job the camera's a long way away. I didn't think about it afterwards, but it's looking right at it. So the lenses are dried out.
Yeah.
Singe your eyebrows.
Yes. It's good that air dryer. It only cost me like £7. That was Trago special. Can't go wrong. They're saying monogram decals are crap. Again, some of their kits they're all right, and others are really, really bad. So I find with monogram decals that older ones tend to crack up a little bit, don't they? Gordon says good afternoon. Hello, Gordon. And where are we? Why can't Tamiya get from Cartographed? Well.
You'd think actually though, with sort of Tamiya sort of being in things with Vitalera, for reboxing, they might well actually
have a source in there, yeah.
Yeah, put them on and say your decals are rubbish. You try using these people.
But like we said, it's only because in my mind that Tamiya do everything in house, so they probably do their own decals in house. But
I agree. Yeah.
But they must do their armour decals in house and the
in a different part, different part of the factory.
Why don't you just sack off the aircraft guys and get them all to get the armour guys?
Just with his phallic symbol. By the way, this is Phil's new OnlyFans site that's just going to announce later for anybody who's interested in pay-per-view and all that.
That's it. Look, I just can't understand what the problem is.
You really put the wrong video on for this afternoon. You know that.
Well, so I've got yours in a minute. It's fine.
Oh dear.
That's the bit I said. If when you're handling acrylic like that, literally, you do like Darth Vader or Palatine, isn't it? It's like zzz, because literally my arms like hairs are sticking up and everything. It's a nightmare. And I turned off the light switch and almost blew myself across the room. What else we got? Any tips on how I can mask a white-black demarcation line on the nose cone of my Airfix Defiant? I've made a mess of it. from Gordon. Thin tape.
Yeah.
Thin tape conforms right the way round. So, you know, as you said before, I tend to just use whatever that is, 15 mil. 15 mil tape onto the board, cut it, and then I can go right on this board alone. You can go down to 0.4 mil. So it's a very, very thin line, and then just put the thin tape right the way round, get that into position and knead it in there, and then
That's
you
18
can back
mil.
it. Is it 18?
Is that Tamiya tape? Is
Yes.
18?
But I don't know what it is. I've got 15, 18. Look, it looks like it. Okay, 18 mil. So obviously you get lots of little thin strips out of that when you're going through. But then once you put on the thin one, which will be your edge, then you can just back it in with thicker ones afterwards to go right the way round to do it. But the thin tape will conform very, very well. Obviously, if you try and put down thick tape, like a 6 mil, you're going to end up with like bleed getting underneath where it's folding over itself and stuff like that. So you need a thin tape to go right the way through if you want a nice sharp edge anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always find the thinner it is easier it conforms round. Yeah, so start off on like a half mil.
Yeah.
First, and then so like build your way up, and
That's where the infinity boards are just priceless, isn't it? Really.
And it's also easier if you paint the nose, the pointy bit first, because when you're masking it off, it's sort of like you can make it into a. You don't have to fold it in as much. You can sort of have it as like a cone coming out rather than having to fold it round. Do you know what I mean? If you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're on about. I'm sorry, I'm sat here thinking, hey? I kind of get it, I know what you mean.
It's
Hey, wow, what are you doing? What are you doing on that video?
Is that sped up or?
It may be sped up just a little because obviously this is 20 mil solid acrylic. It takes quite a while, so I sped it up a bit.
You need some Benny Hill music on.
To be honest, it's like that. When it's sped up, it's quite funny.
Oh, this is entertaining today.
It is. Hello from South Korea. Hello, sorry it's I can't read Korean in with the language there, so I don't know your name. But yes, greetings.
Hello.
If this is your first time to join us, sorry.
We're not normally this bad.
Peter says maybe Philippines Tamiya are the bad boys reference decals. Well, they've moved it all back, haven't they? Now they're still in the Philippines. I know they moved out of Indonesia, haven't they?
I don't know. They were moving it back, weren't they? But I don't know, to be honest. I've not heard anything to say. Yeah.
But they've been terrible for decades, haven't they? Tamiya aircraft decals. It's not a new thing.
No, it's not.
It's always been.
Is the newer ones as bad? They're like the Tomcat and stuff. Are they as bad?
I didn't use it on the Tomcat. I used aftermarket.
Yeah, I can't remember either. And let's see what the F4's like when that lands.
To be honest, looking at it, because the F-16, they're aftermarket as well. All the Tamiya stuff I've done recently, they're not theirs anyway.
Yeah.
But why risk it when you know they're not great?
Yeah, true.
You know, when you've got such a fantastic kit, why risk rubbish decals when you've done put that amount of work in it? Did you use aftermarket decals on your F4, the big one that you ain't got anymore? Or were they kit decals?
No, they're aftermarket as well.
Were they?
Yeah. It was the same markings that were in the box, but I went aftermarket on that.
Right. Well, Christopher said the P38 ones was thick decals. So, yeah. Oh, no, perhaps not near LA. He said perhaps we go down the Edard route of decals.
Yes. Yeah, let's not go down that one again. Jeff says you can take your eye out with that thing. It's all right. In a minute, it gets cut down a bit. Just spoiler alert. And in a minute, at the moment, it's a bit hard, but it will go slightly floppy.
As it always does.
But you've got to keep moving it because otherwise it will get burnt. And it will get very, well, it goes bad. So you need to keep it moving all the way around, and you'll see it now. It's like a magician's trick. All of a sudden, it lets go. And away you go, and we can start bending it.
It's like innuendo bingo.
Nobody wants a burnt rod.
Well, no, that's it.
Or a floppy one.
Or a floppy one. It was a little bit too long for me, so I had to take it back a bit in a minute. So, right. So anyway, what happened to the Great Wall Hobbies SU-27B? It was due out in Q1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID.
Shipping.
COVID
Yes.
shipping, I don't know.
Quick, it's bending.
Oh, we'll
Look,
see it.
it's bent. Woo.
It's what?
It's
Oh,
bent.
you bent. Yeah, you bent it. Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, they are on the way. Just when, I think, when we get them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Tease Drones says, I have some real issues with Bellkit's decals being very brittle. Despite what you do, any thoughts on a solution? I always think if you've got decals and they're slightly brittle, you can give them a coat of that Micro Industries decal film, which it's like a skin, which goes right over the top of it, which then holds it in place a little bit more. But you might have to then cut round it to get it off the backing sheet, because obviously you cover the entire backing sheet. The other way as well, and I often show it, is that when I'm doing decals, I use warm water and literally I'll put it down on here, like water onto there, and then I put it onto the cutting mat face down so it's flat. So it can't roll up and it can't do anything. And once it's all completely covered in water, then you flip it over, and then you're pretty good with it. So if you were some of these old ones with these, okay, if you was to put it down upwards, it's going to wrinkle up. But if you put it down face down, and because it's on the here, it can't go anywhere, so it just soaks in. And that's why I do mine on the cutting mat. Then once it's soaked in, you're good to go. The other thing as well, don't use cold water. If you use cold water, it just cracks as it's coming apart. You want warm water to soften the decal as well, so it doesn't get caught on one part of the actual backing sheet and not on another. So you might find it's loosened on one bit but still gripped, and then it cracks, so it's a bit more. Once it's totally gone, then you're okay, and just put it over there and you're good to go. But because it's flat all the time, it hasn't rolled up and cracked whilst it's rolling up. But if you go in there and do it the old-fashioned way, which will be, I'll just get one of these. Okay, and you put it in that way, it rolls up. So it stops that from happening. Even though it's that first bit, as it goes down, it can crack and split, and yeah, all the horrible bits that go with it. So just be mindful of that. Good job I don't need them, innit?
I've never tried the Bellkit decals. I couldn't tell you if they're good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, if you're on aftermarket, I wonder if boys do stuff for like cars, don't they?
Because I was going to say, like Phil says, make sure you've got nice warm water.
Yes.
But I always put a bit of what do you think by now?
Set the blue one. Yeah.
The blue one, the vinegar one.
Yeah, a bit of that in your water, and it just like it's designed to help soften decals, isn't it? So if you put a bit of that in your water, but then I also put it on the kit as well. So like when you put it, it's given a bit of pliability to your decals. Yeah. So like
Elasticity.
But I'm a great believer in the water and the temperature, because the thing is, if it's too hot, it can release too quickly in some areas and not in others, and they stretch. But if you ever put them in cold water or not, it's not warm enough, I think what it does is that the warmth just enables it to sort of move a little bit and stretch. But if it's cold, it can't, and it just cracks instantly. So, yes, that's the other thing to it. And hold on, where are we? That's it. GB Model says the same thing with the Tamiya bike decals. To be honest, I've only ever used little ones on bikes. I've never done a full, sometimes, the entire sides of them and that for that type of thing. Will we be getting the Academy 144 B52 in store soon?
Again, it's if we can, not if we can get it, when we get it, but yeah, I'm sure we'll stock it. But getting the Great Wall Obvious one as well at some point.
Yeah.
So, I did see actually somebody put a post up, because you remember Battle of the Planets?
Yeah.
They're releasing the Phoenix, the proper spaceship.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, I don't know, because I think it's probably only like that, so it's like,
550 or something.
more than 700 so I don't know, somebody's put a link up on our forum, like it's Ben, and that was proper interesting. Looks really, into that thing. Different.
Yeah.
And how do you keep your water warm? Well, you can buy, like a lot of us have got, I don't never use it because I use this now, but I must admit, you can get cup what do you call them? Coffee plate warmers, cup warmers,
Yeah,
coffee
I've got
warmers,
mine
and they're
in
usually USB powered, and you just plug them in your USB,
Yeah.
and away you go.
I could say the cheapest only.
Yeah, the one I've got is useless.
Is it?
Yeah, mine is as well. To be honest, I've got one, and I don't think it does. It doesn't.
Where's
It's not
yours?
hot enough.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll get you mine. Mine's this one.
Yeah, my wife's got one, and hers is fantastic, but she won't let me use it. She takes it good with her.
Oh, stop it. Hey, just swap. I know Nathan uses a baby bottle warmer.
Got it at work, and I can't even
Right, I'm with
break
you.
into a
Yeah.
police station.
You could
You've
try.
got babies and things though.
But yeah, it's fair. That's a good idea. That's what Nathan.
Yeah, but when people's had the babies and they've grown up a bit, they always get rid of them.
Just a temperature on those, can't you?
Yeah. It says it's actually quite
I'm
good.
thinking, what's he doing? He's looking for a coffee thing. I'm thinking, why is he measuring a piece? He's looking for a coffee thing.
Yeah, hold on. Right. He's still playing with his phallic symbol, isn't he?
Got
So
that
is that
one.
yours, is it?
Yeah, this is mine. To be honest, I don't think I've ever used this one.
BB8.
BB8, yeah.
It's a BB8 one, but I used to have a white one, but I think I threw it away because it never even got. You put your hand on it, it didn't even feel warm. It was just luke tepid. Definitely won't keep your coffee warm. Put it like that.
Well,
So I must admit, I haven't tried this one. I have to try this one.
I usually use a decent sized bowl, so it stays warmer through mass because of the size of it. And I just keep checking the weight and pop into the bathroom and fill it up again.
Yeah.
With water at the time.
Mine's in there, but yeah, I've got like this cup one with low and high setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you need. One with a low and high setting. I think if you just get the generic ones, they're a bit crap.
And
But,
to be honest, sometimes I use that. I've got a aluminium ramekin,
Right. Yeah.
and obviously being metal, it keeps the heat.
Yeah. I've tried all sorts of mine. I can't seem to get anything.
And it fits nicely. It's actually.
I plugged it in. We'll see what this one does. Don't plug it in that one. It's got enough hanging out of it already.
I may look on Amazon tonight.
I use either one of them, look.
Yeah.
Which is a Ali Ramekin, or I've got, which is like a pot one.
Yeah.
That holds heat as well. And with it being a bit longer, and it just rests on top of the heater, and it just works. So depending on how big your decals are, really, but yeah, they work all right for me. Obviously, you know I don't like decaling, so
Yeah. Most of Matt's decals only have 3.
as you can see, look how big they are. That's about my scale, and about 5 of them or whatever it is on it. Lovely.
What else have we got? Thanks for the tips. Any suggestions for aftermarket while you're on? What, decal wise?
Well, God, loads, isn't there? There's tons of companies.
For bell kits, again, yeah. Most of the manufacturers out there now tend to use just a handful of other manufacturers of decals. So
if it's for bell kit stuff, you want to look at Hiro Boy. They do all the car.
They specialise in the cars, don't they? So I'd say they're there because car decals are a bit more specialist in aircraft and that. So yeah, Hiro Boy is probably the best place to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also they do all the proper colour match paints as well for you. So
They do indeed.
Yes. There you go. Look, there's me holding it in place now for 3 minutes.
What's your weldy stuff you're using in that?
Yeah, that's the really strong stuff.
Acrylic thingy in the bonder.
Yes, this is the Christ, who makes this? IPS Corporation stuff. It's lethal. Don't use it on model kits because it literally melts styrene instantly. This stuff, when it goes off, I've done it in testing. If I try and snap that off, it'll snap the plastic around it. It's stronger when it's joined than it is on its own. You're more likely to just crack everywhere else apart from that joint because this stuff is proper lethal. But it's not instant grab. So you have to leave it for it's got grip hold, it says on this, within 3 minutes. You have to hold it for 3 minutes, but it doesn't dry. It's 80% dried in 72 hours. So like I say on it, I don't actually fit this on until 24 hours after it just to see. And now this is 72, so it'll be proper cured now. But it's on there.
Has it got red bloodshot eyes and a glazed look?
Yeah, it's good stuff. So
a bit
yes,
potent.
it can be quite strong.
Yes.
So yes. So anyway, that's it for the show. I hope you enjoyed it for that one over there. Next week, polishing. Well, hey.
He's going to be polishing his helmet.
So I'm there rubbing the hell out of it to get that proper look. It's like 20 minutes.
Jeez.
So yes, it's good stuff. But anyway, they're all up in there.
Next for your viewing pleasure.
Yes, that's it.
Oh God. Yeah.
We have Matt.
Yes, next we have Matt. Hold on. He's in the video build section over here in the Bedford.
Yeah. No. That's it. It's in 2 parts so
I quite
far.
like that thumbnail where it was like it ghosted the thing with the background.
So I won't be rubbing or
Are you not polishing and rubbing?
not
just
polishing.
to go
rubbing
along
or
with me this
anything else
week.
in my videos. I'm clean. My videos are safe for work.
Yeah. So yes, very good. Right. Hi from Scotland, guys. I'm thinking about getting into airbrushing for the first time. Any recommendations for a beginner? Love the channel, by the way. Well, Paul, like we always say, it's one of those, if you're going to make a step into it, you're going to go both feet. There's no point buying a really cheap airbrush, cans of gas, and a couple of bits and pieces. You really need, you don't have to go massively expensive, but you need to invest into it. And you have to understand it's an investment not only in money, but in time as well, because you're going to learn the process, as you're about to see with Matt. Over there, look. You really could do with a decent airbrush, because a decent airbrush will last you a lifetime anyway. And you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on an airbrush. But the thing is, if you buy once, buy right, like I say. And I will highly recommend what Andy's playing with. Oh no, that's the other one.
That's Ultra Steam.
I was going to say that's the Ultra. But it's something like this, which is a... See, this is just lukewarm. It's crap, that heater. Unplug it. It's junk.
That's why I like it. Is it not worked?
Well, it is, but it wouldn't keep your coffee warm, put it like that.
Oh, right.
I'm not being funny. I felt warmer heat pads for your pockets.
I was about to say, that's what it looks like. It looks like something you put on your back for your bad back. It's a heat pad.
That's what it feels like. Yeah, it's not very good. Anyway, so down in here, this is a 270 airbrush so this is basically Gun's version of it. It's called a Pro Convoy. They do various ones, but the great thing about this airbrush, you've got everything you need straight off the bat. Okay, you've got a little Mac valve as well for adjusting your air pressure on the fly, which is really handy. So what this means is you can just go full pressure on your tank, or a higher pressure, and you can dial it down here, so you don't even have to go near your compressor at all. And then on the back here, we've got something for locking your trigger. So really helpful if you're doing fine work. You can just click it forward and you just get hardly any movement. The more you unwind it, the more freedom of movement you'll get. Okay, that's it. It's got a fixed color cut, but that doesn't make any difference. Okay, and you're literally all good to go onto it. Okay, very easy to look after and clean and everything else like we said before. And it'll set you back around about 120 quid. Isn't it, Matt? Are these about 120 quid now?
I think so, yeah. They're about 120 then.
About 120?
Well worth the money.
But absolutely, as I said, for you know, I've got other ones here. This one you'll pay about 250 quid for. I've got ones over there that are 350 quid. They are no better than this. And for a daily driver, this is what I use all the time now. So I absolutely love it. Compressors. Ideally, you want one with a tank, but it's not important these days. It's not like back in the 80s when we used to get the putt-putt compressors with diaphragms and all those types of things. So, you know, most modern compressors give a nice steady airflow. So you can spend 50 to 80 quid on a compressor. Again, if you want to step up to a little bit more of the next level, you can get one with a tank onto it, auto stop start, things like that. Very helpful and quieter than Andy's for that. And then it's just basic stuff. So get yourself a cleaning pot. Most of them come with airlines anyway, so you're good to go with that in there. And then, as I say, you can, if you wanted to, go through with all the bits that go with it, but honestly, you don't need it, especially when you're starting out. So you can just get some basic thinners to go with it, which is whatever you're using. If you're using lacquers, obviously lacquer thinners will do for cleaning out your airbrush and stuff like that. Some cotton buds, tools, things like that for keeping it clean. You don't need to have all the gear, so to speak, and that's enough to get you going. Paint, depending what you're used to using at the moment, but if you've never been airbrushing before, then obviously personally look at lacquers because they're just so easy to use. And things like that. Very, very straightforward. If you want to see anything about it, if you go onto the Flory Model site, tutorials, airbrushing, you've got all the beginners courses in there, you've got all the live shows, and again, in the summer, I'm going to be redoing a lot of those anyway for the more up-to-date stuff as we make our way through with those ones. So definitely, it doesn't have to be really expensive, but I think, you are looking at airbrush compressor, respirator, bit of a must.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a P2 or 3, is it? P3 rating? Can't remember. Yeah. Jesus, something like that. But anyway, so that means it's for gases and stuff, so you'll be fine with that. And then again, these are luxuries afterwards, but well worth it because this lasts forever, and it gets rid of all the dust in your environment and everything else. But you could do a basic setup, to be honest, for around about 250 quid. For something, and then afterwards you might think to yourself, well, look, my compressor's dying after probably 4 or 5 years, and then get a better compressor. So you can get one, obviously, perhaps with a tank onto it and stuff like that. But your airbrush, because you've been using it from day one and you're going through, you'll probably get used to it in a certain way, and you don't really need to change it. It'll just be needles and nozzles and bits and pieces like that. But some people will say, oh, you need to have all of this, and you'll need the cleaning kit, and you'll need all of these accessories to go with it. You don't really, because you can use brushes for cleaning out your airbrush, and stuff. They are a bit of a luxury, and to be honest, I know Matt's probably got a load as well. You can get cleaning kits and everything, but do you ever use it, or do you just stick a brush in it and wiggle it around a bit?
A brush. I do. If I do actually strip my airbrushes down to clean them properly, then yeah, I do use the proper brushes. And most of the time, because like I say, we use lacquers, it's just a bit of thinners in it and blast it through, and you don't really. It's sort of self-cleaning to a point. Obviously, what you have got to watch is where your seals just grip the rear seal sort of grips your needle when they dry out. But again, with modern seals, most of them don't do it, but you do get the odd one if you do go for a cheaper airbrush. So I would say that'll be the Achilles heel, is the seals on it. Yeah.
But like Phil said, I think the one thing that you shouldn't cheap out on is the airbrush.
No.
Yeah, go for like one Phil showed, 120 quid. You can't go wrong with that.
No, it will last your lifetime, and it's easy for spares. And
I haven't found an airbrush for probably 100 quid more money that's better than this.
Yeah.
Because I put this up against the Infinity and stuff like that easily, and I still think this in some way surpasses the Infinity. The only drawback to this one is the nozzle, because it's a little fiddly thing. But as I said, I'm still on my original one, and we are well into 3.5 years now using this one, and I'm still on the original needle and nozzle, which is amazing.
No, the only downside to this, wish they did one with a smaller cup.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan. If they did one probably with that size cup,
you don't have to fill them.
No, you don't, but it's in the way.
So that's the 5mm, isn't it? And that's the 2.5, the smaller one.
Yeah. You see, when you're doing that and you're close in, your line of fire, shall we say, with a bigger cup, because it's there, which is actually why the siphon, the side feed ones, is actually not a bad idea, because then you're looking straight down your barrel of your airbrush, aren't you?
But how many times do you actually use your airbrush like a gun and are sighting it? Honestly, how many times are you literally like that, or are you more a case of where it's going?
Well, probably because of experience. I'm just thinking more beginners. But
Did you say, I don't like the design, I don't think it's pretty?
If the side feed ones are there, not that one. No, not the top. Not the normal gravity fed, but the side siphon field, aren't there? Because I always hated the suction.
Yeah.
Because they're just unbalanced.
Well, and also they're a waste of paint, seeing as most of it's in the pipe.
Yeah. In this tight with because like the
but the side ones kind of make sense to me, depending on what handed you're. Because they're always thinking for a right-handed person.
You can swap them around, can't you?
Some you can't. I think it just comes out of one side. But yeah, so
master race.
Well, don't want to brag.
I meant right.
So but look, I think basically what we're saying is that you still need to invest a little bit of money into it. So if you invested sort of 250 quid, 300 quid, you'll have everything you need and you're good to go. If you do it, and try and do things on the cheap, your airbrushing may suffer because you haven't got everything you need. So I know people who've tried it with cans and say they don't get on with it. I had cans, I never got on with it either. I did a repair job for a friend of mine a couple of months back and tried a can for the first time because I was around their place, and Jesus, I give up. I came home and got my compressor because it's ridiculous trying to use a can. So, you know, how they ever worked ever in the first place is beyond me. So,
especially when they frost up, when they get really cold, isn't it? You can see it creeping.
You see it going up. Yeah, that's it. It's ridiculous. So, but again, they're a false economy because we said before, you're paying 5-6 quid a can. Well, you know, sort of 3-4 hours of airbrush, and you've paid for a compressor. So yes.
Somebody on our forum was asking the other day about electric airbrushes.
We've discussed these. Yeah, me, Matt, and my mate Carl, because Carl was on about it to me a couple of years ago, isn't it? And like we were saying, they're not what they're cracked up to be at all.
To me, they just seem to be awkward and gangly. I mean, it just.
I can see the theory behind them, because then you haven't got all the compressors, the cables, and all the other stuff. So I'm thinking, if you're an artist, which is probably what they meant for, rather than us, isn't it? Or you're doing little repairs on stuff or whatever, you know, then I think they're probably a good idea where you're just generally covering. I think. I don't know how precise they are. We're not having used one. I don't know what they do. I don't know what the capabilities are for going down to anything or whatever. But for priming, because we discussed about getting one for priming, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, that's what Carl was saying, wasn't it? Carl was saying that if you're into figure painting and that's because he's over in Japan and they do a lot of that. They're great because that's all they ever use a compressor for, an airbrush for, is priming, because the rest of it's hand painting. It's great because you don't need any of this. You just literally have it in the can and you do it, and away you go. So they're ideal for doing that type of stuff. But for anything else, I don't think they're a goer. Me and Matt looked into them because we thought about actually stocking them and stuff. And it's a bit of a false economy, really. So
I still wouldn't mind trying one, if I'm honest, just to see the pros and cons and do a bit of a test. To see how long they last, because that was the other thing, wasn't it? Because there is obviously
there's a battery. They're USB powered, aren't they? Yeah. But again, this is the thing. If you go on, like Carl was saying, because he was sent one as a demo, and he then looked on, I think it was Amazon or something, to get the price of it, and he thought it's the same, but it's not. It's one of those things that's been knocked off in China. So there's about 20 different versions, but there's a proper one, and there's every other, but they all look the same. Yeah. And like he was saying, so battery times vary anything from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. So depending if you've got a good one or a bad one, and again, needles and various things in there, depending if it's the expensive one. But like he was saying, I think when he was on about it, saying that it's a bit of a minefield because they all seem to be generic.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you've got the good one or the bad one, because some of them are really expensive and they're still rubbish, you know? So,
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? So...
Anyway, hi guys, any idea on the Kitty Hawk 48 scale Comoff 52? When will it be released? Scale mates are saying it should be released in 2021 by Kitty Hawk. Look, we're still waiting for the Frogfoot to come out.
Yeah, I think that's been canned out.
That was last year. So, Kitty Hawk. It amazes me, isn't it? Kitty Hawk are absolutely useless. And then when it came to the Seahawks, we got the lot.
Yeah.
So,
you know what's going on behind the scenes, do you, with these companies? But I've not heard anything about it, so no idea, no clue.
Apparently, MH40NT uses the water he uses is from an Airwick wax melting kit. That'll probably keep it nice and toasty, wouldn't it? Water for your decals. Yeah. So if it's going to keep wax at melty temperature, that should work very well.
Yeah. There you go.
So there we go. The guys are all talking about various different things down in here. So we're saying that you can get a AS168 compressor for around about 150 quid off of Amazon. Procon 270s. You're all getting the thumbs up. So yes.
He uses an Airwick, works brilliantly. There you go. I have to look for them and an Airwick.
Airwick.
Yeah.
Never even heard of it till now. So.
See, Alan says no. He started off using cans of air, but he couldn't afford a compressor at the time. Got good results. But again, the trouble is as I say, I'm sure they're fine if you got them in your water or between your legs and all the rest of it, if you're doing little jobs. But if you're doing something huge, you're going to have a bit of a thing of air cans around with you and all the rest of it. And the way that they deliver their air isn't constant sometimes. They tend to be great for the first bit, then it dies off, and then you stop for a minute, and then it warms it up, and it makes it happen. But again, it's just the cost, because they are not cheap. We looked it up, didn't we? We were working it out. Is that you've only got to do it so many hours, and you've paid for it. So
yeah. I suppose again, it depends what you're doing with them. But yeah. Like I say, it's cheaper in the long run just to buy a compressor, even if it's just kick your bucket. Even if it's just a cheap compressor, what's up?
What am I looking for?
yeah,
An airwick.
What, air freshener?
No, for melting wax.
wax.
Googling it now. Look.
I just want to put it in me thing so it's there.
You know what's going to happen? He's going to come on Monday with a burn where he's stuck his arm on it. You have it, and it's too hot in it. And you put your arm down, you're like, ah!
My decals will be covered in wax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Shell's doing her legs in there.
So has your cup warmer thing just not worked at all then?
No, it's more. It wasn't warm. It's literally. I've got one of my jackets. I've got one of these heated pocket systems in it. Have you seen those? They've got like pads in them that heat up. You plug it in. It's USB, and literally that's warmer than this was.
You live in Devon, man. You're not in the Antarctic. What do you need a bloody heated coat for?
Bit around here. It's bitter.
Shut up. Yeah. Come up here and live for a year. We'll toughen you up. He says with his heater blasted at 20.
Yeah, I was going to say. Hey, don't knock it. Sometimes it's warmer up yours than it is down here.
Oh dear.
What else have we got before we have a commercial break? How much longer is left on your video? We'll have a commercial break after that. Oh, there we go.
I finished painting yellow. That was a long time to paint a bit of yellow, wasn't it? I was just looking at my own video and blimey, he's proper stretched that out.
That was off on our video. That was.
Oh dear. I had to milk it, I think is the word.
Is Phil going to tackle you the TU60 for the Comrade Bullersig as he's not going to do the Bison? No, I have got a plan though. I do have a plan for the Comrade Buller one, but it's not that. I have got the kit. It is down there, the blackjack, but
I bet it's Russian.
Have you got a cunning plan?
So cunning, you could put a weasel suit on it. What else we got? Just watching the airbrushing bit in the corner and realised that even though I write left-handed, I use my airbrush with the right hand, but brush paint with my left.
Oh.
So do I. It's just a trick of the camera, that.
Yeah, you've got the image flipped.
Yeah, it's flipped it.
Yes, is that
Actually, tell anything, I can actually spray right-handed pretty well.
I was going to say, has that got a left-handed needle in it?
Yeah.
No, Matt, I have a right-handed nozzle there.
Yeah, it's got a right-handed nozzle. Must admit, I had a bent needle in my airbrush once, and it was almost like it was left-handed, because obviously you look at your model and it came over there.
Was you spraying round corners?
It literally was going around corners, and also it was that bad that literally, if you went upwards, it was a tiny little line, but if you went sidewards, it was a fan. So that was the bit where it was a case that I think I need a new needle and nozzle combo for this one, because it's proper at it. But you know me, I'll carry on straightening it out and trying to keep going.
I think needles are a bit tougher than you think, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, any times you catch them, because I'm a bit of a bugger for, obviously, see there, we're spraying out the guard on them.
Yeah.
And I'm not the most, careful person with them, shall we say.
I must admit, with this one, I've never had a problem the crown on this is quite fanned. Yeah, some of them, they go inwards. And I think that's the difference, because when you look at the end of this thing, you can see it's... Oh, let's drop the camera right in. There we go. You can see this one, it goes outwards. But a lot of airbrush nozzles, they go inwards, don't they? And I think you get the build-up in there, but this one, you don't really get much build-up like you get with the others. So that's pretty clean in there, and I haven't cleaned it.
Yeah.
So, but that's another thing I like about this one. But you can just take the end off of these if you know. Allegedly, I've never taken the. Oh, there you go. So yeah, you can just. No, that's the entire nozzle coming off. Hold on. No, that ain't coming off. It's never been off in its life. But yeah, but most nozzle ones, if you look at them, they go inwards at the end, and then you get build up inside there. Then you get spitting. But with these airbrushes, with the crown type here, it goes outwards, so you don't get that.
You seen the Badger one? Just
no.
Just you've got a thing. Just this is like the Patriot 105.
Hold on. There we go.
Are we on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're American, so.
Are we there? Can you see, look?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. You don't get a guard at all, really.
Nope.
It's just depressed
that's
in.
It. You get a bit of a pull up.
Oh, is that the thing you shoot?
That's what you get with a Patriot.
Yeah, that's what shoots across the room.
That's what I fire at Andy lot when I put the thing on.
Hold on.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not plugged in, but yeah, that's like the fun for firing at my friend opposite. But yeah, this Patriot don't come with a guard. Where am I? Where am I on the camera?
Up a bit. I've got you on a zoomed-in version.
Oh, there.
There you go. Down a bit. You're a bit close.
I can't. I'm going off screen.
Oh, that's hold on. I'll put you on that one. That's easier. Do that one.
Thanks. Yeah, that's better. Look. So yeah,
has that got a filter in it? In the colour cut? What's in the colour cut? It looks black.
It's the lid.
Oh, it's just the lid. Oh right, sorry. I thought it had
a plastic lid.
Oh right, okay. Well, it's clean, isn't
it? This is the kind of, I won't say budget range for a Badger, but it's like and everything does all, because I've got the Renegade Chrome, haven't I? Which was the top of the range one. I think the Sotar.
Sat on its box for years.
No, I use it now. That's what I use all the time. I really like it. So I got quite to these Badger issues. They're all right.
Used to be sat in your box, didn't it?
Tony's asked, do I always take my guard off? Depending on what airbrush it is, to be honest. I'd prefer on this old Hansa to do it, because I don't really like these crown. Are they crown nozzles? These aren't crown ones, are they? What do they call them? These.
What, the spike ones?
No, it's
what's on the standard.
You know what the standard
I think they do call those crown ones, yeah. Even though they're not like spiky crowns, it's just the guard, isn't it? Needle guard.
Yeah. I just think you get a finer spray without the guards on. That's why I like them. Don't know, it's just personal preference, isn't it? Because that one's got the thingy guard on, and now I really, like that forked one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like them at all now. I just rip that off and just spray without the. Put the stick on, don't they? Spray without the guard on, and I find they work better as well. So, don't know. Personal choice, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that is the thing as well. Sometimes, like we said before, it's all very well me harping on saying get this airbrush, it is great, but it is that thing. At the end of the day, you might find something works better for you. And like we've always said, you're always going to get people who are going to have their preferences, and there'll be that. It's a bit like a Ford guy versus a Renault guy, or a Volkswagen guy, or a BMW guy versus Mercedes. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We all have our preferences.
Yeah.
Even if they're wrong.
They're wrong,
yeah.
So, yes, definitely.
I have a lot of shoes. But it matters as many airbrushes as shoes. I have a lot of shoes.
Yes. Yes. Have you seen his shoe collection?
I've got a lot of shoes.
It's like Imelda Marcos, he is.
I need some new shoes. I did say to Leslie, and I think I need some. About time I had some new shoes, because you don't even wear the ones you've got. That's not the point. I like shoes.
I've got lots of shoes and coats.
Coats. I'm not bought back coats.
I've got loads of coats.
But shoes, yeah. Oh well, there you go. What's this Sotar like? Because I'm thinking again of Sotar, Badger Sotar. I've heard good things about them. So Neil's on about his first airbrush.
The thing with Badger is that they do lots of sales, don't they?
Lots of sales.
Sales.
What
yeah.
from them themselves from Badger? Because I'd get them out of Hobbyco.
Are they like DFS? Are they?
Yeah.
So I don't know really.
Hmm.
But Sotar one looks quite.
That's a black one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just looks a bit weird with the writing on the side of it to me. But
Yeah, I don't know without seeing one close up in that. But it's supposed to be great for fine work, but I don't know really.
No.
Anyway, shall we have a sponsorship?
Well, can't he still spraying?
We're spraying for
God,
ages.
you've gone over 20 minutes of this.
Trust me.
Yeah, that's it. We're 23 minutes in. He's still going.
I know. I'd edit it.
No wonder.
I was going to
there's
say, how
views.
many days did it take him to do this?
Hey, no wonder it said no views. People just switched off the board.
I will link this down after the show, by the way, for Matt's build on this one, so you can see this one.
You're going to what, sorry?
I'll link it down in the show notes below and everything. So people who are watching this as a recording, they can find this.
I thought you said you was going to take it down.
What, mercy
After
killing?
watching it. Dribble.
Have you got your whale humping music on this as well?
There is a bit somewhere on it, yeah.
What, some humping music?
Well, the thing is, the first time I saw this, I wasn't aware. Andy did the editing for Matt on this one, and I'm playing it, and all of a sudden this bloody music starts, and I'm like, where's that? So I've got lots upstairs, if you know, I have 3 monitors running and an ultra wide as well for the editing. So sometimes I literally have it all over different screens, and I thought there was one of them was playing in the background, so I'm going through them all until I twigged it was him. It's only when I paused it stopped, and it's like, oh, it's this one. Got you. So it's very subtle. It's nice. It's meditating. That's it.
Is that what it is?
So yes, looking good.
This was actually the second time I edited it, because the first one that I started editing, then I realised that Matt had made a bit of a faux pas and
We painted it twice.
reprimed it and repainted it, yeah. It wasn't until I got halfway through I thought, why is it back in primer?
Then you realised, didn't
Then
you?
I realised.
We had lighting issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that was the thing, because he did say to me it's a bit dark, because obviously it's when you were editing it. I was on the phone to Andy, who was working from home. And I was like, oh, right. I said to him, well, maybe in editing you can lighten it up a bit and all the rest of it. And then when I watched it, I thought, God, he did a good job on that, 'cause it looks fine. Then it turns out, it said, no, it was another version of it. And I was like, right. I didn't realise you reshot it.
Version 2. It says. So something we'll touch on after the commercial break.
Right. Failure. Got you.
Absolute failure.
Okay, right. Oh, hold on. How do you get rid of that? Hey, hold on. I've pressed that by mistake. There we go. Right. Okay. So during the this week's shenanigans, do you want to talk us through, Andy? Where do you want to go first?
Yep, so these are the new specials we've got on this week. Sorry, we've just been around the store and chosen some family favourites and put them up.
Favourites. just
Yeah, because the cafe is my family favourite.
No, we just went around and had a look to see what hadn't been up for a while, apart from the Hawks. They've been up a few times, but
Yes.
there's some new ones there. The Stork or Storch or however you want to pronounce it. You built that, haven't you? Is it the Hobby Boss one you've done? The Dragon one.
No, I did the Asgard one.
Asgard one, sorry,
yeah.
Yeah.
And we
But
got
that
the
one's in the
Wimmick.
back
I did the
shelf,
review on the
yeah.
Wimmick. Wimmick's a good kit.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got the Great Lobby 72nd F-15s. Put all 3 versions up on sale, so...
And the Kitty Hawk Voodoo, because everybody needs that kit.
Yeah.
Yes. Voodoo. And obviously we've got the Freedom Fighter, the F5,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is the European one, isn't it? This is the Spanish...
Newish.
No, that's Norwegian, isn't it?
Norwegian. Yes. So it's the European marking one, that
Dutch.
one.
Is it Dutch as well?
Dutch, yeah. Yeah, it's the Dutch. Yeah, it's Spanish, isn't it? Spanish? Yes.
Did the Spanish use the F5?
I think everyone used it back in
Swiss.
the day. Yeah, Spanish
Swiss.
markings.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Well, you just think, because we looked in at aftermarket decals for an F5, weren't we?
We were.
And the Swiss one, mint.
Oh, yeah, it
The
does it
Swiss
nice.
one.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Swiss.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Prowler, obviously a Prowler. Is that the
Prowler?
Playboy one?
Yes, Playboy one, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then-
that's the specials for this week. And then if you go to new arrivals, because they're now up from the other day, So you can buy a Toyota Land Cruiser.
Very nice.
That's the old, not old, but it's the.
It is old.
Well, I don't want to say that. But yeah,
It is
right.
old. It's the Esky
kit, yeah.
Yes.
What we will say now, iconic and nice the Toyota Land Cruisers are, especially that Gen 1.
Gen 1.
First one,
That's
look
the one.
brilliant, don't they?
That's the one to have, a Gen 1.
Yeah.
And then,
Of course, the Cara that means mountain, hill,
Fortress.
Hill Fortress.
Hill Fortress.
Yeah. That we all knew.
Thunderstreak and that. And then we've got Sherman from Dragonlock, which is cheap.
Hmm.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah. Very nice.
Because I thought it was mispriced, if I'm honest. I thought that was our price, never mind, full retail.
Yeah.
And then there's a few items, obviously, that we showed the other day from Zvezda,
All-star.
Beaufort, and then the other bits and bobs. Andy's going to have a sort of this out on Monday, aren't you? Because there's some stuff that needs moving back to its original.
Yeah. It's been in there for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're going to have a sort out of that.
Yeah.
There you go. The Operation Cobra Sherman is a nice kit. I think actually the Dragon Shermans aren't bad. I thought the Firefly and it was okay. So, especially when they're not like £70 worth.
I tell you what, one little thing here. We often talk about Reeboks and the kits, and obviously this is an upcoming kit with Edard, but it's still available. And it's unusual that it's still available from both retailers, isn't it? Because what we say, normally it gets pulled.
Ah, yes, but look at the price.
Yes.
And then look at the price of the pre-order one and what you get for £2 extra in it.
Yes.
Oh, that is it?
Hold on, let me pop over to it. Yeah, it's nice. We've still got it out for 19 quid, haven't we?
I think it has, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's just gone ballistic, hasn't it, for a pre-order?
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing it for £19 8p.
And you get resin, big decoracy, master. Oh, so 8p makes all the
I
difference.
didn't want to be losing the 8 pence.
So yeah, so we've got it up. Yeah, so that's a bit weird, that, isn't it? So there you go. £16 down in there. Well, £17.
Yeah.
Or we got the new one coming out for 19 with all of that lot.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is a bargain then, isn't it? That's probably why it's got so popular.
Yeah, perhaps that is. That's why everyone's gone for it.
And it's, as we've said, Desert Pink. So,
But after the show,
that's
Yes.
it, done.
we're closing
So
it.
members, if you want to grab this, go stick your name down because I say I think we've got about 80 on order now. So we're going to close it down now.
You've got literally 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah,
and then
3/4 of an hour. Get your name down for one. So pop in the forum, go and chuck it in for the Desert Bay. Put your name down, and as soon as they drop, we'll invoice you for it.
Christopher's asked a question, Philip.
Yes.
Is the EA6B with the canopy split down the middle?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, they've never. There was a big rumor going around that they were going to redo it, but it never happened. Unfortunately, there was. I don't even know who started that rumor, but I fell for it because I thought that they had retooled it along with the normal Intruder with a one-piece canopy, and then I got one, and then it's not. It's still the same.
Yeah.
So
Is it that kit that had the wing fences wrong as well?
yeah, but they did fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the wing fences. It was supposed to be fixing the wing fences and then doing the canopy, but the canopy never got changed over. So
thing is, what other options have you got?
well, you don't unless you're going to go down the old monogram one.
Yeah.
So there you go then. So that seam down the middles.
Yeah,
You know.
Fair, it's on a.
there is a seam for it. So yeah. So yes, it is a bit of a thing though because obviously Hobby Boss have done it without in 48 and everything else, but they don't do this particular one. Don't do the Prowler. So
No. Still, big plate for.
yes, classic now, all retired. Now it's all growlers instead.
Oh, right, is it growlers?
Yeah.
It's the growler now. So yeah.
Another plane bites the dust.
Yes,
Is that in
unfortunately.
the desert?
Oh yeah, I suppose there's a lot of them either in museums or desert. There isn't a ton of those anyway because of what it does, but I know a lot of them went to museums.
What carrier were they on?
Well, they would have been on them all, part of fleet.
Because they needed them to keep up with the F-18s, didn't they? So they.
Yeah, but what size carrier?
Well, all the cross-deck ones would have carried it. Yeah,
Big
obviously not the assault class, but obviously all the ones with catapults and that. So
How many were made then?
I have no idea.
And what factory were they made in? And what
Well,
day?
they would have come from Grumman.
Yeah. That gives it away, doesn't it? The Grumman bit.
Yes.
That was made by Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, good stuff.
How long's it been in service? You're a Navy person. How long were they in service for?
I think it came in the 70s.
And that took over from what?
It didn't. It was start of its own genre because it's electronic
okay.
warfare.
Right.
So there was a version which was the intruder version, if you like. But
Didn't they have Phantoms that were?
no, not in that state because that's a jammer. You're thinking of Wild Weasel.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, these are the ones which, nowadays it's the bit we were saying about they've done a brilliant video, one of the squadrons, and every now and again it has a scene from the film and they're going hello, hello, because obviously they just go emit and then you get nothing. All your Wi-Fi, all your phone and everything just go offline. So yes, cool bit of kit really. So yes, anything else you want to look at around the store? Are we all? Is it?
No, not really. No.
Let's just have a look at AKs again.
Again,
AKs, right?
just for a change.
Just because we haven't mentioned it this week at all. So obviously, big news. We've got obviously all the colours.
We did have till we sold out.
Yeah, so grab them before they all sell out. So yes, got them all down in there. And like we said before, they're split into two categories, but it's the way that they do it, not us. So what we've done is we've done the you've got your AFV and your standard colours. So your armour colours and your standards, like your reds, your blues, your whites, your your greens, and all the rest of it, sort of primary colours, are part of AFV. The Air series, which obviously tend to be the more satin ones, and all the rest of it, sold out.
Yeah, sold out.
Are down in here, and they've got pretty much all your colours. Although they don't do a desert
Sold
pink.
out.
Oh, sold out! Quick order. So yes. Have we confirmed that RLM colours were right?
All right.
Yeah, they're right. The
Yes.
74, isn't it?
No, there was the British Desert
Stone and Pullens.
the counter scheme lot, Portland Stone and light sand.
Yeah.
No, they're right. How does AK Light Gold compare to to its competition? No idea, Christopher.
Yeah, I must admit I haven't. But light gull is a standard colour, so
we got the painting on Monday. Well, last Friday. I set it up on Monday and it went live on Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
And then we've been packing and thinking, so I don't know how the colours stand. There is if you go on the site, Christopher, there is actually a colour chip. Click on gold grey.
Hold on, let me find gold grey.
What does he want? Light gold grey. Light gold grey. Click on that because you get a little colour chip that Andy put up with paint.
There are medium grey, superiors, half gloss, medium.
The top.
No.
It's dark gold grey. No, it's further up the top.
440 it is. Hold on, be 440.
Camouflage grey, light grey.
375.
Grey. Somebody. RC220.
Further up, so.
Go back up. Told him that. Go on, 220. There. Up one more.
Oh, there it is.
Here it is.
So, depending on your monitor.
Yeah. Goes well with our background colour.
I see they've done it as a gloss. So, being a 1 at the beginning where it says FS, 1 means it's a gloss. 6 means it's a grey. And then 444 is its modulation number. So that's how they work it. So if it's a 2, it means it's a satin. And if it's a 3, it's a flat. So
Great, so it looks good when you paint the underside in insignia white.
yes.
Can't be far off, to be fair, AKL. Pretty.
Yeah.
To be honest, that is the thing we've often said about this. And when we were making the discussion about taking them on, obviously you don't want to take on a brand that's a bit dodgy with some of their colours. But we haven't heard anyone say anything particularly bad about AK ever. So we're pretty much sure that they've got the colours. Because obviously, don't forget, they've got other ones in their range anyway. So if it's been a bad colour, they would have known about it a long time ago before they converted it into real colour range.
So anyway, don't forget what we say is once you've weathered it, it's never going to be that colour again anyway, is
No,
it?
that's it,
So as long
absolutely.
as it's in the ballpark.
Yes.
Can you also have a quick look at brushes, please, Phil?
Can do. Where are we? Brushes, paint brushes.
Been going quite well, haven't
Yes, a lot, obviously.
Oh look, the hair wax has gone out. I mean, gel
hair
wax.
gel's sold out.
Hair gel's gone.
That's some more. We've ordered that. That's coming back in again, so we should have that. So yeah.
they? But obviously the Italeri brushes that weren't in stock for years.
20 years.
Hold on a minute. Tony, are you on about the Edard kit here, the Tornado? Because if you are, that is the Rebel kit. Or are you on about something else? Because you've just put your name down the scene, I think, for an Edard one. Oh,
sorry.
that is a Rebel kit in a Edard box. So, yeah. Anyway, commercial break time's finished. Let's go back to talking.
Right, back to the music. Right
Yeah.
on. Do. So yes.
And Italeri brushes are all right, actually.
Yeah.
For the money.
The ready brownie handled sable ones, I really like those. I like the shape of them. The shape's really nice on them. I've not tried the synthetic ones, but you said they're quite good, didn't you?
The blue handled ones.
Yeah,
they're brilliant. They're
I've
all
got
right
them.
for money. Yeah, I've got some in that one of them tubs here. There's one there. Look,
Yeah, I've got them. I like them.
buggered that one up because
And they are pretty much bulletproof. Look at this one. Look, it's rock hard, but it soon springs back to life once I get the paint off of it.
Oh no, that's a different paper. All your paintbrushes are rock hard.
Where'd you have to?
I ain't got me a here. So I'm waiting for you to bring yours in.
Put enough on in the morning, so I don't need to.
So anyway, Phil, let's talk about modelling failures
Right.
and why it's good for you.
Yes, because you learn by your mistakes, isn't it?
Yeah. But why are we so afraid to fail?
Yeah.
I think the problem is you spend so much time and effort at something, you want it to be right first time, don't you? I mean, my Arado that I'm building, which I've been building since the beginning of the year, and I've got a week to finish it. I was putting the decals on it, on the side, and I believe I was on with Matt. It was either Matt or Nathan or all of them, and John. I'm not sure who I was on with. And I said, the carry film on this looks a bit thick. I should really cut them off. Cut the individual letters out and everything out off the carry film because it was thick. And I said to myself, I've got 2 sets of decals because a problem I had with the decals when they originally came out. I thought, so if I mess one up, I can use the other ones anyway. So I put them on as they were. Oh, I made a right problems for myself. Ended up having to strip the paint back down on the sides of the thing because I put that much other products on to try and get the decals to settle down. I caused problems with the paint. So I wasn't happy then with the paint, so I'm stripping it all back down again, respraying it all the sides. Bear in mind that half of the kit is also now decaled.
Is that annoying?
Yeah.
I think that's annoying people in chats.
It is.
Now they've mentioned it.
So everything was, so I called myself major problems, and then I've redone it again, but cut the decals out. The problem is that's not the first time I've ever done that. So why didn't I learn the first time around?
Because you don't, do you?
Yeah.
You think you can get away with it?
Because I knew,
corners.
because they even said I knew what I should have done, and I didn't.
You should have sprayed them on, mastered.
And I've got the
That's what you really should have done. But even so, that's for a different day, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think as well, it's that thing, isn't it, where, like if you remember when I did the Hellcat, obviously the decals went completely peaked on with me and I ended up having to respray it. I think that's the bit where I know a lot of people might have binned the kit. They might have been like, do you know what, I'm done with it, I can't be arsed with it anymore, and you'd thrown it and chucked it in the bin. Whereas with me, I just case of, well, it's quite straightforward. We're just going to sand it back, obviously like Andy did with his Arado, and then take it back, prime it if you need to, and then paint that area in. And if it is slightly different, then it becomes part of your weathering or the character of the model.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I think it also depends on what stage you are with the kit. To when you have the, we'll call it what it is, a cock up.
Yeah.
To where, yeah, because if you're towards the end and you make a major cock up, then it's like causes you major grief, doesn't it? If you're sort of closer to the beginning and you call yourself a problem, it's easier to fix.
But is
get
it?
around it.
The question is it worth binning the kit off
No,
because of it?
no. I think if it's repairable, you can come back from it. Then, like you said, you learn something by repairing your problems, don't you?
Yeah.
If you just bin it off, then you sort of like you're getting nowhere, because then you cause the problem again.
Yeah, you've not learned how to correct and get yourself out of the mess. Yeah. But again, I'll just go back to my likes with the figure painting and stuff. It's a completely still, and obviously a new skill set for me, shall we say. And I painted a figure up here. I'll get her down because I think it. And I mean, she ain't the best figure, to be honest, because it's only a styrene figure, but she just to go with E-type, and it was just to practice on painting females for a start, because they're not the easiest to paint, and obviously a civilian figure and not military and all that. And I don't know how many times I've repainted her, to be honest. It was getting, I just couldn't get the face how I wanted it to look. So it was a case of try again, try again. And painting white's definitely not one of the easiest things to paint, but you just keep at it. I think you just keep plugging away and till you're happy.
Again, you put that photo up earlier, didn't you, on Instagram? It's the first time I'd seen it, because I hadn't seen it before. When you put it up earlier, it was like, that actually looked pretty smart to me. It turned out really, really nice.
Yeah, it came out better than I expected. It's not brilliant, I think, but again, it is what it is, and it's a learning curve, I think, So, because I've got that to paint, I've painted that once and I've stripped it and started again.
Yeah.
Because, to be honest, I brush painted the skin tones the first time, and I think I brush painted it over a black base and not a white.
Yeah.
And it works. So I'm going to airbrush the skin tone bases on and probably a close, and then go to the brush, I think, because it's a bigger bust. I think that's an easier way to go to get your base down. You know what I mean? Rather than the brush. But I think that's down to skill set as well with using a paintbrush and stuff. So
he wants me to do a PM logo.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I want a little PM logo on a pink bag.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I look all right. But yeah. But yeah, I think it's one of them things with modelling is not to be afraid of failing.
Yeah, I think sometimes. Yeah, I think failures, especially in this hobby, it's one of those things that's part of it. You're always going to have spilling paint, like the guy's talking about spilling thinners and things like that. That's always going to be part of what we do. You're going to do that thing one day where you're going to super glue or glue your finger to your model. Yeah. And that nightmare situation we've all been in where you've grabbed your model and realised you only deckled it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And, you're slowly pulling your hand away, knowing full well the decal's going to be stuck to your hand. Or on your fingers rather than it. But it's, I think, how you deal with it. Because, again, a lot of people get really upset and frustrated, but we all do it. It's not just you. I think everybody does it. I do it all the time. Absolutely. I show it warts and all. You can see me snap off that case as I'm trying to do it next to us and stuff, And it's just one of those areas where it's always going to be one of those things that are going to happen. You try and learn from it, but sometimes you never learn from your mistakes either. Like, how many times have I told you on camera to make sure you put your colour cup lid on? Yeah, I'm there with my airbrush, got my model, and I'm doing this, and it's flipped out, gone over the model, and I'm there doing shit. So you put that down, you quickly grab a little bit of Bounty or whatever you got, and you gently dab. Don't wipe, because if you wipe, you're going to smudge it. So you just dab it slightly, let it dry. Bit of sand in, taper it in, blow it in. It's annoying because you're going to spend another half an hour fixing, where if you put the lid on, this would have never happened. But I still do it with almost every build. So
that's more habit, though, isn't it? I think that's the thing. That's just bad habits. But I think, like, when you do mess up, because I do think I think everybody does it, is like really beat themselves up about it. And I think you should kind of take a step back, I think.
Yeah, I think it's that thing. Just you always expect things to go wrong sometimes, and they will. And that is the thing where you say, right, okay, it's gone wrong. I'm not happy, or perhaps the weathering hasn't worked, or even your paintwork and everything else. But you sort of understanding why. We often talk about different people having trouble with textures with paints, and we've had frosting with paints, haven't we? But if you understand why it's done it, it's not so bad. It's the bit where you don't know why something's gone wrong. Like, why has that happened? At the end of the day. And if you can't work it out, or you can't ask somebody and all the rest of it to sort of put you straight on the right direction of what went wrong, that can get very, very frustrating. And I understand where people lose the mojo and they can't be bothered with the hobby, and they have a break from it, or for whatever reason, and then come back later on. So
well, again, I think that's where the internet and this site and other sites have come into their own, because you're not on your own like you was 20 odd years ago.
No.
Unless you was in a club, you was either with magazines, weren't you, or books. It's, to be honest, you can read, but it's not the same as seeing somebody actually doing it. So I think that's why there's been a massive leap in progress because of the internet. I think we've mentioned this loads of times before. It's more true now than ever, probably. With the access to YouTube videos and us talking about stuff and answering questions or whatever, I think, because not everybody's capable of going to a club meet, are they?
No, of course not.
No, and not everybody wants to go to a club. So that sort of option would have been kind of it 20 odd years ago, unless you was a really talented person who could figure it out for themselves, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? Like a leader in that way.
It's not even been a possibility in the past year, has it? So.
Yeah, but again, with the internet, it hasn't been as bad as it probably could have been. If like I say, if this had happened 20 odd years ago, blimey, I think we'd all be in nuthouse, wouldn't we? Let's be honest. We'd all probably be suffering one way or another. But I just think now there's so many resources for people through the internet that if you want to learn how to do something, you can.
Yes.
If you put your mind to it, you can, you can learn it, I think.
Like I've said before, and I did it to Buster. If you're going back years now, but with Buster, I said, there's nothing you can't fix on your model. If you remember, I took a saw and cut Buster in half. And then we glued it back together and then sanded, filled, rescribed him. And although you probably couldn't even see where the join was now because he's under about 8 million coats of paint, but that was the scenario to it, that there's pretty much nothing you can do. And Buster, he got dropped literally on his engine system when I had the back out, and the engine went right the way through the entire model. But it was that thing, okay, it's happened, because it's got a lot of photo etch with the engine, and it was all bent and gone. And admittedly, once you get past that initial, like, bloody hell, what have I done? But that's straightening it all out. Let's go through which parts are broken. And the great thing about this hobby, because we're dealing predominantly with plastic, you can use plasticard for repairing things. You can use, obviously, bits of resin, leftover resin, casting blocks, things like that as well. Photo etch can be replaced with plasticard, thin plasticard, things like that for making up veins and fins and stuff. And we've done before. And like, how many times have we, I've had my display cabinet collapse on me and a load of them got smashed in there, and you bring them out, drill and pin and go through. And that's the nice thing with this. So, making mistakes and breaking things and stuff like that is just almost par for the course, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's just what we do as modelers and everything else. But we're fortunate because it's not like a laptop where if you like drop something on it and break it, there's nothing you can do. Luckily with us with modeling, there is things we can do to try and put it straight and fix it and make it good. And we've spoken about before, canopies. When you crack canopies, that's one thing you don't come back from particularly well. It's a tarp time.
That's a bit blown about, Andy. I'm not backing him up with that. kicking the shin, that one.
But that's the thing, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's just that I think really as modelers, we're in a very lucky position to be able to fix mistakes we make, especially our own mistakes. So you can come back pretty much from them all. So I always say, have a breather from it, take a step back, have a look at it properly before you chuck that model in the bin and you throw it away and everything else. Have a proper look at it and say, do you know what? Actually, it's not so bad. We can sand that off. We can go through decals. We can buy aftermarket decals if they've been wrecked and all the rest of it, and normally put it right and go through the motions of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Just because John's answered this, I'll have a look into it, John. I don't know. He's asking about copper stake models kit. We'll look into it and we'll find out. Yeah, but I'm just thinking also, when like you've finished something and it's not quite how you've envisioned it was going to turn out as well.
Yes.
Which isn't technically failure, is it? But obviously you've got your expectations of what you would like it to look like.
Yeah.
And normally reality is it looks completely different one way or another, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think then people get down on themselves and, because it's not looked like somebody's they've seen on the internet or in a magazine or, whatever. And again, I think that's where you have to take the step back and think, well, take the positives out of the build. What have you learned?
Yes.
If that bit of weathering's gone right, or you like the spray job, or the cockpit's nice, there's always a positive to take rather than look at the negatives of it. I've got a bit of a scribing line there, or there's a bit of a seam or something. You know what I mean?
It's a hobby of trial and error, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. You never stop learning. Yeah. You're never going to stop learning, are you?
And like we said, if you're new to the hobby, it's very, it's very easy to get sort of caught up in that thing where you go on Instagram and you see these fantastically done dioramas and that. But there's a lot of things to learn to get to that stage. We spoke about basic construction, and how a lot of people sometimes just push through that and get into the weathering more. Yet technically, if you want to be winning competitions and stuff, the model's got to be perfect. So everything's got to line up, everything's got to be at the proper angles, it's got to be seamless and everything else. Then you're moving on obviously into your painting stage, so you want a nice painted finish and everything else. That's an area to learn. Decaling and obviously markings and things like that, that's an area that needs to be learned. Then you're going into your weathering, and then weathering is a whole new world really, because you've got washes, and then you've got obviously with pigments, you've got post shading, you're into modulation and color shifting and all these different things, isn't it? And you sort of learn, I think, by all of us have done over the years, trial and error, what works for you. Because certain products, like we said, all right, I know we harp on about my wash being the easiest thing to use and everything else, but a lot of people probably don't like it. They prefer to use Tamiya
panel liners.
Panel liners and stuff, and that's what they get on with, and they like that effect if you can get it.
Yeah.
So yes, I've cornered the market. They're not allowed in the UK.
London. But yeah, it is like you say, it is a set of skill sets, and when you actually break it down, this hobby, into the skill set you need to learn, there is quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? If you work out like from basic construction, you've got to, even doing a cockpit. So you've got your extra, if you're going down the X-ray or painting, brush painting even. Yeah. And then obviously, like you say, you've got your airbrushing, which again is, if you're going down the airbrush route, or even brush painting, there's a way properly to brush paint, like there is a way properly to airbrush. So that is a proper skill set to learn to an airbrush. Yeah. Then like you say, decaling weathering is a complete thing on its own. So it's a lot if you break it down into little different sections that you've got to learn, and it's not something you're just going to, unless you're really talented, you're going to pick up in 5 models, 10 models even. It's going to take a lot of time and commitment to.
And obviously the other thing as well, we often speak about it, is that, aircraft modelling is different to armour modelling, which is different to doing civilian cars and, gloss schemes and stuff as well. Because again, each one of those has their own genre and ways of doing it, because doing like a brand new, like Matt did the Jag, that's a mirrored unweathered finish, which in some ways is harder because you can't hide anything under weathering. You get a dodgy seam or a bit, put a bit of weathering on it, get rid of it. If you're doing it as a showroom finished model, you can't do that a car, because everything, and your paintwork's got to be perfect and everything else, where normally if you were doing, certainly armour, but aircraft as well, you can get away with a little bit of texture and stuff. But if you're doing a bonnet of a Jag, like Andy did, with Matt did, you can't do that. It's got to be perfect right the way through. So it might be a case of sanding it back, giving it another coat, sand it back, give it another coat, until it's right as well. So again, there is, I think from people, partners and people who don't know us modelers, they probably just think you're sticking kits together like you did when you were 7. But the reality is, isn't it, as a, this is what we do now. It's not that at all. It's an incredibly in-depth say the learning curve is incredibly steep, you know, and I think that's the trouble. People coming in want to be up here straight away, not knowing of all the little sub tips and tricks and methods you use to get to that type of level with it. And that's the thing. And, you know, like I always say, I think scale modeling is an art form, you know, because it is an art, and it's a discipline you learn, you know. And again, when you do break it down to cutting things off of sprues, to sanding and clean up and building, and knowing when to paint things separately, painting on the sprue, when not to paint on the sprue, you know, and all those different things, you know, it's a big thing. And yeah, that's what I say. And like we've said about it as well, I think it's good for mental health, because it's not just sit there. It's not painting numbers what we do. It's not Lego. You know, there's a certain amount of, you know, intuition going into it and understanding it. Understanding as well that the instructions technically got nothing to do with what you got in front of you, because you're going to do it completely different to what the instructions. It's not like Lego, where Lego, you do it in that because A goes on to B, goes on to C, and it's all in steps. What we do is completely different as well. So, and that's the thing as well. I think it keeps the old grey matter turning over and doing its bit.
Amazes me when everybody I meet and they ask what you do, you tell them and said, "Oh yeah, that's what I used to do when I was a kid."
Yeah, and it's like, no, you don't.
You patronising.
Yes. Oh, you make plastic models? That one winds me up.
Yeah. I just turn around and go, yeah, I do, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's good. It's good for my well-being.
It could be worse. I could be playing golf, chasing a
yeah,
golf
yeah.
white ball after I've whacked it. I've got a dog for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously, you can get judged on your hobbies, can't you? But
Yeah.
like you've said, I now treat it as art.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
A lot of it, because it is that side of the brain that you use, isn't it? That's the artistic side of it, and that's where I look at it. It's a piece of art now.
Yeah. Especially when you look at something like that.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's a 3D piece of art, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, Kev's dioramas. It is
Yeah.
a 3D piece of art, or
That's it.
you know, the way when we did the transit vans.
The weather on
Yeah.
it, yeah.
You know, they were quick, but
Yeah.
again, people.
You've got to have a vision in your mind, haven't you? And
Yeah.
be able to turn that vision into.
Well, that's where I
It's
fail. Yeah, the vision's there in your head, but how it turns out. Well, actually, sometimes it turns out better than you anticipate as well.
Yeah.
Because you go in a different direction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I was talking to somebody a few years ago now, and they were describing how modelling, you know, is in scale modelling, is like gardening. Because you have an idea and you sow your garden or you plant your plants in the expectations of what's going to come up, but it technically never does. So you adapt your garden and your planting and perhaps some of your plants to how you do your modelling as well. So you play to your strengths, you work on your weaknesses, and you do it like that. And I must admit, I was talking to him then, it was like, at the time, I think I was like, I don't understand where this is going, but I do nowadays. I actually understand it a lot more. That it's one of those things that sometimes, and I do it a bit like Matt, where we say, do you have an idea of how it's going to turn out at the end? I've got an idea, but if it turns out like that, that's two separate things completely. So, because sometimes I will say it in my videos, and you'll see my video bills, and I say, we're going to do this with it. And I get halfway through, and do you know what? I'm not going to bother. You know, classic example, the Seahawk, I was going to do all that oil weathering on it and all the rest of it. But actually, it looked really, really nice, and I didn't want to screw it up. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to leave it right there. A little bit of light oil work, and that was it, because I was happy with what I had right then. And going over the top, I think we would have lost it. We were going to do some stuff with this, and a case of, again, no, it's going to be too much for it. It's going to turn into it's going to be a weathering fest and everything onto it, and it's not what I want it to look like. And again, it's that thing that, like I always say, your model at the end of the day, you're not building it for anyone else unless you're doing commission work, you know. And again, I think even when I was doing commission work, a lot of people appreciated how I did it, and they wanted me to do it in my style, which I think is quite nice. Because I think if somebody turned around to me and said, you know, can you do it literally like this, and showed me a photo, I probably would turn it down and say no, because I don't think it looks right, or whatever it is in that style, you know. So that's the other thing as well. You're building it for what you want.
Weren't we? It's organic,
Yes.
the way, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it is, like you say, you just kind of like you've just said, you know, where you see, or you want to do this and that. But I had it with the Jag. Obviously, it was going to be red with a different coloured interior.
Yeah.
And the course of that video, it changed completely for what I was going to start off with. It must be frustrating for people watching it. I said, right, I'm going to paint a red car and I'm going to do it with this colour interior, and it ends up being grey with a red interior. But I think the changes were right for what I was doing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it evolved in a right direction, because it could have gone south very quickly in a completely different one. But again, it's your own model, in it, I think, as well. So if it goes in a different direction, run with it.
Yes, yeah, definitely. You know, and that I think that is a fair point as well, where people, and they fail with modelling and get frustrated with it, is because perhaps they may have got, you know, in their mind's eye, they're going for this effect and it's not working out. I would say just go with it, you know. And again, I've done it so many times with my models where I've been forced into a situation because of something I've done, and it may be a mistake, or it may be a change of plan, or those colours aren't available, or the decals aren't right, or whatever. And in some ways, you get some of your best work like that. I still maintain it, you know. It's, you know, when I was working on the Hind and we took off all the film off of it, it chipped and it tore into it a bit. But it was great because it made it look like the rest of it. So it had worn in well, but that's not what I was going for at the time, you know. And that was the whole point. So, yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those things where don't be too hard on yourself, because we are our own worst critics as well.
Yeah.
You know, because let's face it, like I've always said, there's no such thing as a perfect model. If anyone tells you that model's perfect, they're lying, because they know where the errors are to it. I know where every single one of mine is. It may look good from certain distance, and I might have done stuff that I'm really proud of right up close as well, but I still know where the errors are. I do still know where there's something that's not right.
Have you ever seen my 109?
What, the award-winning one?
The Super Bill on the canopy, yeah.
But yeah, it is. I think, you know, that is the thing is, I know loads of professional modelers and award-winning modelers, like Andy, and, you know, when you speak to them all of them will tell you where the faults are with that kit. They know where they are. They might have hidden it away, but they will tell you as well. Any of them tell you they've built a perfect model is talking crap, and I don't believe them.
There's no such thing as perfection
there's no
in art,
such thing.
is there? So it's rubbish. But yeah, you know, I think the whole conversation is going is obviously because with the pandemic and the lockdown, we've had a lot of people take the hobby back up.
Yeah.
You know, join the forum.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
online and obviously contact us through YouTube, chat, and whatever of, you know, 30 years, and I've come back into it and everything, and it's all changed, which is obviously, you know, must be massive changes for them.
Huge.
Well, again, just take a step back and like start from the beginning. And if you know, because we don't know how many people are going to stay with it or go back to what they did before, fishing, golf, whatever they were doing, you know, whatever their hobbies were. But I think a majority of them, you're going to get percentage who will stick with it, who will get hooked like we have and addicted. And again, just like take a step back and just learn at your pace as well.
Yeah.
Don't be like, say, don't be influenced by people. Because I think you do look to inspiration, because I think you have to aspire to something, don't you, to get better. Of course you do. I think.
You know, like one of the biggest things I get, you get a lot of people say to you is, oh, I could never be as good as that. I could never produce that. And to me, I often am like, you could. You know, I'm nothing special. I'm just not even probably that good at it, really. I've just been very fortunate. But it's one of those things where, again, is that it's just time and practice as well. Like airbrushing, I've often said, airbrushing was not one of those easy things for me. I spent years learning how to airbrush, and it was one of the reasons I started doing this was to teach it, because I was reading all the books and they're telling me it should be at this PSI and it should be this thinners and it should be the consistency of milk, and it was all of these things, and it just wouldn't work for me. Full stop, you know, and no matter what airbrush I had or anything else, and one day something dropped in place and, you know, I had a bit of an epiphany and it suddenly started to click. But that took years. Yeah, you know, I know she's not here anymore. Lindsay was a classic example of how the hell does she do that? Because she'd never touched an airbrush before in her life. She picked up an airbrush in here and started spraying like she's been doing it for 20 years. So she had a real natural flair and talent for airbrushing, which I haven't seen in anybody. And, you know, there she is doing camo work and she's spraying this, that and the other. And I'm like, Jesus, it took me 10 years to get to that stage, you know?
Left and right-handed.
This is it, yeah. Yeah, left and right-handed as well. It was
Okay,
odd,
you're
like a
always
freak
going to
of
get
nature.
people who pick things up faster than others, aren't you? Let's
Yeah.
be honest. So that's life in general. If you're talented, shall we say, and then great, happy days. But obviously, there's a lot more people who probably aren't than are who have to work at it. And I'm definitely one of them who has to work at something to get better at it. It's not something I can just do.
Yeah. Like Barry down here, his is probably the most common statement we get from people coming back in. So Barry French saying in here, true, came back to the hobby after 30 years, liquid glue with a brush. This sorcery, it was a game changer. I remember when that came along with extra thin, because you had thin glues, but they still left glue marks. But extra thin, the way it evaporated off and left nothing there. I remember using it for the first time, and it was like, Jesus, this stuff's like it's a thing of alchemy. How does this magical process work? So yeah,
it's a good hobby, I think.
I think mentally as well.
Let's say,
I think it's good for a mental, for mental well-being and health, because again, you can shut yourself in a darkened room and do it, or you can do it like we do with all together and everything else like that. And it is one of those things that I think mentally it's very good because it gives you a chance to switch off, but your mind is very active because you're thinking ahead of your build and everything else like that.
Yeah.
It's also broad enough with enough scope for pretty much everybody to find something they like doing.
That's true as well. With the interest now, like of every genre you can think of, it's covered, isn't it? In one way or another, I think there's not many. Even for female modelers as well, because there's a lot of them out there who do it, and not everyone wants to
do figures, don't they?
Yeah, and I kind of know why, because of somebody that I follow who does figure painting that I follow, and I can see probably why they're better at it than men, if I'm honest.
Well, we've often said, haven't we? The thing is that especially with figure painting, makeup, I think, not being sexist here, but it gives them a massive. I haven't got a clue how makeup works, but it's all to do with blending and texture and stuff like that. Contouring, yes, and all of that. It's very, very clever.
It is, it's bringing out defining shapes.
So for figure painting, they've got a leg up on that one. So
but again, there's other things now. I think for female modelers as well. It's not just all tanks and planes, and that sounds a bit sexist as well because there are ladies who are into aircraft and tanks and stuff, and it's not that. But do you know what I mean? It's like there's a big broad spectrum now of things. Because again, like with the wargaming side of things, which we don't cover on obviously our side of stuff, but how big that is now is enormous. And I know, like, because again, some of the channels I do follow do figure, painting on that, and you learn quite a bit. And a lot of them are females that are doing it, and they're just different level, to be honest. So, yeah.
Interesting, definitely interesting.
It is.
One of the guys here saying, exactly, Phil, I was the same when he started on Arctics. He couldn't reverse for nuts. And then one day it just clicked. Saying this, it made me think, I forgot to tell you this small story. If you are the gentleman, take this the right way. I was in the depths of Cornwall on Monday, and my other half decided to take me to one of her jaunts. And I thought Devon roads were bad, but this is a single track that literally goes to nowhere. So we go down it. Anyway, the way back, I come face to face with my own car, literally. So there's a guy in a Merc head on, and we're in this lane. I don't know, but I do know I've just passed the junction behind me. So I go and flip mine into reverse, literally go back, and he flashes and says, no, it's all right, go back. I don't know the area. This is the point, right? So I'm thinking, well, he must be a local. So there must be a lay-by just behind him. So I was like, oh, okay. So I go back into drive, and I sit there, and he tries to reverse. And it's like, oh my God. So for 7 minutes, this guy goes into the hedge, forward into the other hedge, into the hedge, forward in the hedge. And we're going back. He's doing like 4-point turns trying to reverse. At this point, DPD van comes scooting around the corner, comes behind him. Bearing in mind, he's in a big, like 3.5-ton van. And he's like, oh, right, okay. He goes, reverses, and just scoots up the road in one. This guy in this Merc is like doing this. So at this point, we're like halfway. I'm thinking, I could just reverse. I could still now even just literally reverse. It will take me 30 seconds because I can reverse. Not to mention, because he's in the same car as me, it's got cameras all around it and sensors. How he's hitting anything in it is beyond me. But yes, it was like, he needs to learn to drive. Seriously.
The rest of us would have been saying bloody Mercedes drivers.
Yes. But it was. And the thing is, when we went past him, he was actually on my side and I literally drove around him because he couldn't even finish up on the right side of the road. So it was like, oh, that's all right, stay there and I'll go around you. But I could have literally just flipped it in reverse around a little corner, a little bend in the road and go through and the road split and then pick which way you're going and I'll go in the other one. But I thought he was a local and new, but I've never seen reversing like it in my life, ever. I've seen some bad driving, but not like that. But clearly he's never learned to reverse.
You've never seen Leslie reverse then?
Well, I'll tell you what, it'd be a par with that.
She old runs up, she's rubbish at reversing and just like, how are you? It's like, you've got to do it to pass your test. But she admits it. It's not like I'm saying anything out of turn here because she admits it herself. She's not great at it. But
you have to be good at it once to pass your test, I think.
That's a good point.
Well,
you do.
Yeah, you've only got to fluke it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian says perhaps it was the Evergreen captain. It couldn't have been worse.
It's one of them where they get themselves wedged.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, they've backed himself into such a thing.
My point was, right, he was backing up and instead of just like rolling and straightening up and then going back, he would go full lock and go the other corner in. And then he'd have to back out and then he'd go like full lock. It was like, why don't you just let it drift? Yeah. And just go slowly, you know. But oh my Lord, it was lit. You know that thing as well because you're sort of driving up in with them, trying not to laugh. So I'm sort of like this at this point. I was like, I need to put my mask on. I was literally like trying not to laugh, but it was. We kept on looking at each other to talk because I said if I look at him, I'm going to keep laughing. So terrible.
Terrible. Block a Cornish backcountry lane for a week.
Oh. Yeah, that was it. You think that would have been £1.80 worth of...
That would have been lost in past
international traffic loss.
God. But yeah, I think,
Yes, very good. Let me put the camera just on you a minute because I've just got to cue something up off camera.
Always.
I'm going to just go and try and find that video.
I was going to say, did you run and fetch it? Or you got
No,
to go?
I haven't yet. I'm going to try and do it a different way. Hold on. Let me just go.
You ain't got long left.
No, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do it right now. Hopefully we'll have, it will be, for the love of, it is, right. Okay, it's all right. Hold on. If we do this, then we do this.
Oh, James, I drive a BMW, thank you. And I use my indicators.
God, coming to work this morning.
What?
The motorway I come in is 4 lanes, yeah. Why does every single BMW driver sit in the 3rd lane with nothing in the other 2 lanes?
It's divine right when you own a BMW that you sit in the 3rd lane and don't move like it's on rails. No, I'm with you, mate. I know what you mean.
Thinking, why?
Is this on the M1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't you just move across to the left?
Because you can't. Because they ain't got no indicators. They can't signal that they're going to move. Rob's on with his Jag. Mate, your Jag will be broke down on the drive. You're not going anywhere in order.
Oh, well. Right. Okie dokie then. Well, we're almost to the end of our show. So to finish off with today, we've got a fantastic video of all your great work from the Easter Fund. So it's a little bit of a mixed thing of everything. It's 3 minutes 51 because we're doing it via YouTube because luckily enough I actually uploaded it to YouTube for a standalone for afterwards, so we'll grab it from there. So yes, we'll all be good. So anyway, don't forget you get all your bits and pieces from the PM store, so if you want to show us some love you can get all the stuff in there as always. International shipping is all fully done and everything from there. Flooring Model stuff obviously off the Flooring Model site if you're in the UK, if not PM store, if not How to Choose Hobbies with Brett if you're in the US, and I think he's the only one with dark dirt in the world.
In the world.
Remember, Sabres will be in next week. We'll be invoicing them when they come in.
Yeah.
We'll be having restocks of AK coming in. We'll put all in, and we'll also be having restocks of Mr. Hobby when it arrives.
Yeah, so that's probably next couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yes.
But so this show's filled everything from your, beginning video. I don't know how to say it without, but and we've covered everything. It's been
I think
Been good
we
at
have
it, to be
actually
honest.
done a good one this week. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, don't forget we got the videos up. Obviously, all the stuff on the actual site, PM Store. You know where to find us, and obviously we'll be back with you next week, where we've got the final part, the X15, and the first part, the Zero, will be up with
And
you.
like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Yes, give us a thumbs up. I think we got
Especially-
14
especially
thumbs
on
up the other day.
Hey, especially on the PM channel because I need it.
Yes.
I need all the help I can get.
Yes, I'll link it down below. But yes, like and subscribe, and we'll be back very, very soon. So what we're going to do is switch over to here, and we're going to play this out for you. So happy modelling. Take care. See you soon, guys.
Bye.